The story starts with Ishimoto Miki, a young girl who recently got done with art school, going to get a job at a celebrity management company Holbein International. When she enters the gate, she meets the old manager who takes her to see the boss, and they give him the role of a celebrity manager. However, the artists that she was supposed to manage were the Sekko boys, a group of 4 rather weird godly sculptures, with a dream of becoming great idols. Which was like a nightmare for Ishi-san as she hated dealing with sculptures in art school. Then, she was introduced to their leader Saint Giorgio, who was a dragon slayer, Mars who is the god of love, Hermes who is the god of intelligence, and Medici who is the god of fame and riches. Next day, even though Ishi-san was set back by the fact that she was managing sculptures, she went to pick them all up as it was her job. She had them settled in the car and took them for a performance scheduled later that day, and Ishi-san turned out to be a pretty bad driver. They reached the venue, where Ishi-san saw all sorts of weird things like samurais eating hamburgers, but just after that a guy asks Ishi to keep the Sekko boys in the prop room, mistaking them for simple sculptures which obviously made them sad. Then as they were going through the hallway they ran into Mitajima Jiro-san who was a famous singer. Ishi tried to get out of the way, but to her horror, one of the Sekko boys fell down from the trolley for which Ishi had to apologize. This entire event left the Sekko boys depressed as hell, and just before they considered leaving comedy and becoming a god again, somebody knocked the door, and then Hineshiki Mira, who is another famous idol, came and calling the boys Rockies. Mira's appreciation made the boys happy again with their motivation shooting through the roof. Another day passes by. When Ishi goes to the office she gets to know that there is a gig for the boys, where only one of them will have a small role in one of the biggest television dramas. The boss tells Ishi-san to make sure that the others don't feel bad about it. Then in the car, Giorgio and Mars were discussing Mira as usual, and Medici was flexing his perfect life. When they reached the studio for their audition, Medici got the role, and the other boys were kinda on the edge because of this. When Ishi-san goes to drop Giorgio, he tells her that he is not jealous, but rather worried that Medici will mess up, and also, he tells Ishi-san to get Mira-chan's number as soon as possible. Next day when Ishi-san gets the script of the show, Medici gets to know that his role is just to be a statue which a woman uses to kill her husband. Medici does not tell others about this, but someone gives them the script, and the boys get to know that Medici is playing the role of a murder weapon. Giorgio tells other to not tease him about this, but it turns out Medici was not at all sad, but rather proud about his rather weird role. Next day, they start preparing for an event that they got thanks to Mira-chan. The boys started preparing as the venue was fully booked, and soon they step out to perform. But when they were going towards the stage they got to know that the entire crowd was there just to see Mira-chan. The event started, people started cheering, but the moment Giorgio made his first joke, there was silence. Then he tried to rhyme ideology and allergy with Georgie, which killed everyone from the inside. Giorgio thought that he did well, but the audience however, thought that this was the worst performance they had seen in a lifetime. This obviously made Giorgio sad for like the 100th time. Adding to this sadness, when he tried helping an old lady she got scared of him and ran away, and when he tried to stop a child from crying, he started crying even more. Next morning Ishi-san gets a call from the Sekko Boys fan club, after which Giorgio gets an ad for Pepto Giorgio, a stomachache medicine, but even though it sounds bad, this ad and Giorgio's Giorgioing made him very famous. As a result the boys are invited to Setsuko's Moor, one of the most famous interview shows in the country. The boys start celebrating, but the boss warns them that most comedians that have been to her show got roasted by her to the point that their careers were done for. Then the boys sit in a restaurant with Ishi-san in order to plan their strategy, and they ended up deciding that they will let Mars be the one handling Setsuko-san, as he is the god of love, even though Mars said that he is not into older women. The show starts, and Setsuko starts targeting Mars about how he left his old wives for new ones, and how he should be paying child support. Then he asks Setsuko-san about the type of men she likes, and to his surprise, he ticks most boxes in the list. As they feared, Setsuko-san dominated them throughout the interview, and the boys were sad again. Just then Mars got a call from Athena Nichan, and she was disappointed from his performance and said that he gives Olympus a bad name, which ended the little happiness he had left over. When she drops Mars home he says KTHNX bye, after which she goes to drop Hermes, but he tells her to drop him midway, which she does. This makes her suspect and question others about Hermes and where he lives, which she gets to know from Mira-chan's manager. She got to know that Hermes was buying wine at a nearby market. Ishi-san went there to investigate. One after another a lot of girls entered the apartment, which made Ishi-san very angry, but when Ishi and Medici went in there was a completely different vibe. Hermes was auctioning off some screw-like thing that was supposed to bring good luck. Before he could start the bidding, a light started shining in the corner, and it was Ishi-san's anger. Everyone ran out of the apartment as Ishi-san lashed out at Hermes, telling him that he can't do these things as an idol and she will keep a close eye on him. Some time later, Ishi gets informed that there is an event in town of Dandy Two Men, a popular idol duo, and she should go to that event with the Rockies. They get on the train and Medici goes missing. Ishi goes to look for him and finds him sitting in some other random VIP seat. Soon they get to the venue, where they meet Mira-chan and her manager. They later join each other at the same table, where Mira-chan tells them that she likes Dandy Two Men as well. Soon the boys start fighting with each other while Giorgio and Ishi try to calm them down. But soon they insult Giorgio, and he gets involved as well. Ishi-san breaks out in anger, but before she can say anything the performance starts. Moliere and Brutus, the Dandy Two Men, are also sculptors apparently, and they have more sculptors cheering for them. The next day, the boys have a live recording lined up at a studio. Ishi-san tells them to prepare and rehearse for it, but the boys get egoistic as they think being on Satsukimura and meeting Dandy Two Men makes them special. Ishi keeps stressing that if the boys mess up this event they will be a laughingstock and their clips will be shared all around. But this does little to move the boys as they lie resting, telling Ishi not to worry. They get on M Studio, with Midajima Jiru-san opening the event. Then they switch to interviewing all performers, starting from Mira-chan. Next up was Sanjusen Gendo Hashiratai, a group from Kyoto with 1,000 members. Giorgio worries that if they take turns to talk the entire event would be over before they finish, and to his horror they started talking one by one. But, doing a clever move, Giorgio interferes and stops this from happening, but it does not end here as all 1,000 of them perform solo. Then finally the attention comes to our boys, but it's too late as the event was ending by the time they had got on stage. Next day the boys head for a recording, an interview and a photo shoot with Ishi-san, but they think that Ishi-san is overworking them. On the other hand, Mars is delivered to Mira-chan in a box by a delivery man, but as she showed Mars around, a drone came up and clicked some photographs through the window. Later it turns out that those pictures were sent to Ishi-san, and she lashes out at Mars, telling him that their boss is trying to make sure these photos don't go public as it could mean the end of the Rockies. While this is going on, Hermes and Medici are happy that Giorgio is not around as he had a crush on Mira-chan. Later that day, Mars is sitting in a bar next to a woman discussing this problem. She tells him a few solutions, leaving it to him to choose what to do. Then he went to have a barbecue dinner with the boys and Dandy Two Men. There he got to know that all their work for 2 days got cancelled. They discussed that from now on Mars won't simp, but they also told him to get into a fake scandal so they can get more publicity. As they said, poor Mars went to meet the woman he met in the bar to have a good time with her. After they did things, Mars cried because he was full of regret. On the other hand, their boss told Ishi that things were under control and it was quite easy. Then the next morning as they were headed for Adaba, Ishi-san messed up the navigation and took them to the middle of nowhere, but to their surprise this place was filled with their CDs. The boys got happy, but soon they got to know that kids were using their CDs as frisbees to play with. Then they went to a restaurant, where again they started to discuss why people hate them and stuff like that. Ishi-san tells them that they have a rating of 2.5, with most negative reviews being like junk, crap and lame. And for the people who gave them 5 stars, there were reviews like it's so bad it's funny. This threw the Rockies in a sad mental space for the 150th time, making them think what went wrong, while Ishi-san tries to cheer them up. She talks with the boss and asks him to replace the music producer for the songs, after which she starts hunting for music producers, and when she finds a world-class music producer she jumps in his way and asks him to produce music for the Rockies, which ends up badly as his bodyguards take Ishi-san down. Then she gets back to the Rockies' room and lies sad, before she suddenly gets the idea to ask Mira-chan's manager to link her up to a producer. While this conversation goes on, the Rockies ask Mira-chan who produces music for her, and she tells them that it's Masuda Movement-san, a very famous producer. Ishi-san works her bum off, but sadly does not get any producer for the Rockies. While she celebrates her sadness, the other manager asks her to think of some friends from her art school as one of them might be a music producer, and then she calls up one of her seniors from art school named DJ Surprise, who agrees to make music for the Rockies. She takes him to meet the Rockies, but the moment she opens up the door there is a massive party going on with the Rockies, Mira-chan and Movement-san, and the music that Movement-san was playing hits Ishi-san deep. The boys compliment Mira, but she diverts the compliment to her manager, after which the boys say that they would love a manager like Kinyu as Ishi is kind of lame compared to her. Hearing this, Ishi breaks out with anger and leaves. Ishi goes back home to meet her parents, while Medici keeps texting her desperately. As a result, she blocks Medici. Ishi starts venting out to her parents, and they support her, asking her what she wants to do for work now. On the other hand, Medici is panicked as to why Ishi is not responding to his texts. Then the boss comes up and asks where Ishi is, to which Giorgio replies that she has gone back home for a marriage interview and will be back soon, and the boss surprisingly believes him. Then the boys start finding solutions. Mars says that they should raid her house. Hermes and Medici start questioning this, but Mars gets super flamed up, after which they all agree. As soon as Ishi gets home, her mother puts her to work and tells her to clean up a room. After she's done doing that, she finds a sketch of a sculpture that she made a long time back. As she admires it, her father walks in and tells her about Agrippa, the most basic sculpture used for sketches, and he tells her to see it from all angles if she wants to find its true meaning. If she ever wants to know anything, she can ask Agrippa. Ishi then pulls out the Agrippa she had, and the moment she starts to get emotional, the boys call for her. When she goes to the window, she sees them riding a boat in the river next to her house, with Yanagisawa-san paddling the boat. The boys apologize to her, and she accepts to be their manager again. The moment they leave, she hears a voice, and the moment she turns around, Agrippa starts talking, which leaves her shocked. When she goes back with the boys, Medici gives her a princely feast at his mansion as a welcome party, where everyone got drunk and things got all over the place. When Ishi-san finally woke up, she went to Medici's room looking for her, but to her surprise, Medici was not there, but she found a note which said, "I have taken the Duke of Nemours." They get a call, and they panic thinking it's a ransom call, but the moment Ishi-san picks it up, it's movements, and with a new mix and a weekend party. Ishi is kinda unsure about the party, but the three Rockies agreed, after which he puts the phone down. Then they head out to find Medici, from being detectives to giving out his pictures. Ishi then runs into Mira-chan, who asks her if Medici is missing, as Mars told her that, along with the fact that she is still angry about the event, hearing which Ishi gets angry, but just then Mira-chan says that she might know who took Medici. They get to know that someone who used to stalk Mira-chan has been arrested, and when the boys mention Medici next to the stalker, he says that he has tucked him away nice and safe. After this, Ishi gets angry at the boss, asking why the police are not doing anything, to which the boss explains that they are seeing it as theft of a sculpture rather than abduction. Then Yanagisawa says that he knows where Medici is. He shows them a location, saying that it's Medici's current location. As expected, they go to that location, which is a warehouse of sculptures. The moment they enter the warehouse, Ishi starts hearing Medici's voice in her head, but when she opened her eyes, she saw thousands of Medicis. The kidnapper had made copies of Medici, with everyone talking and behaving like Medici, but thankfully, like a mother can tell her child, Ishi-san saved Medici, as she had written "looks left and left" before crossing the road on the bottom of his body. And that is how the Rockies made a name for themselves with Ishi-san's help. Subscribe to our channel if you enjoyed this recap, and comment down below your recommendations and feedback. Don't forget to like the video, and we will see you all in the next recap.